Hi, I'm Mama Fontana and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to do clam chowder. So I'm going to take you right into making clam chowder. It's pretty easy. You're going to find that I actually put the recipe in the description for you to find it so that you can make all these delicious things that we're making. So we're going to start out with 1 medium onion. I have my heat going on my pan. I got this for Christmas from my son and daughter-in-law. It's pretty nice. I know some of you are going to have pan envy. It is pretty awesome. And then we have about 1.5 cups of diced celery, which is kind of awesome. Delicious. Now, in the description, of course, it's going to say what I'm using or what's called for in the recipe. But honestly, you guys, you can use as much or as little as you like. If you want to cut some down, great. If you want to make it a little bit more, great too. So in the potatoes, I probably have more than you would normally use, but my family are potato eaters. And so I have 3 cups in the recipe. As you can see, this is probably more than 3 cups. And I bought these Yukon Gold little baby potatoes. Look how gorgeous they are. They're really pretty potatoes. And I think they're gonna make really a delicious clam chowder. So there's all of the ingredients as far as the vegetables go. And what we have to do now, once you have in your potatoes, your celery, and your onions, we're going to do a couple different things. So since we're making clam chowder, it calls for 4 cans of the chopped clams. But to get the delicious juice of them, boy, I just squirted that all over. Use the clam juice that are in the cans. So don't put in the clams yet. I actually still have the lids on there so you can get the juice out of there, because that's going to give the juice inside all these vegetables and it'll make it really good. So go ahead and put all of the juice from these clams and put it right in here to simmer. And then we're also going to need to cover it with water. So I have water here, and we're going to want to cover that. This is such a big pan, I'm not 100% sure it's going to do it. Oh, it is. I'm getting water everywhere. So we're going to let this sit in here and simmer a little bit. I covered it because if you cover it, you absolutely are going to get more heat. It's going to go a little bit quicker. So make sure that you have it at least a medium to a medium high to get those cooking. And those are going to take usually about 20 minutes or more to get those tender, because potatoes take a longer time, and you don't want to have a clam chowder that you have crunchy potatoes. You want them to be nice and tender. So while I'm talking about that, I have a couple things that I wanted to say. Number one is I want to have a little shout out to somebody that has become quite a good friend of mine. Her name is Georgette Snegas. She works for Nestle's USA in Chicago, Illinois. Actually, it's DeKalb, right outside of Chicago. Georgette and I have worked together for a while. Like I've told you guys, I have a day job and I work for Swift Transportation. And I have lots of friends there that are watching. Hi guys. But Georgette said that she was gonna send me something. I thought, oh my gosh, what's she gonna send me? But she sent me a little note, and she sent me something that was so sweet that I thought I really had to say something. And Georgette, thank you so much. She sent me, it's called a Kitchen Angel. And on the front it says, love is homemade. And then on the back it says, an ingredient for happiness. Georgette, thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So I'm gonna hang this in my kitchen somewhere over here, and it will definitely have a place of honor because it has a place in my heart. So thank you so much. Another thing is, I have lots of friends at, like I said, at Swift Transportation. So I'm gonna make a shout out to John Bakavoy. He is always watching this, and he's been kind of giving me a hard time. So John, this is for you. So thank you so much for watching. Continue to watch. So we got this going. It's going to take a little bit of time, actually quite a bit of time. So 20 to 25 minutes. We're going to get this up to heat, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you what happens after we have all this stuff good and cooked and tender. And then we're going to make what they call a roux, and that's how you finish this clam chowder. We'll be back in about 30. Hi, welcome back. So we have our veggies over here that are all ready to go. I'm going to show you how to make your roux. I got my heat going. I was trying to feel and see how warm that is. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add 2 sticks of butter, and then we're going to make our roux. So let's get this going here. Chow-wham. So we're going to use butter and flour, and then we're going to use half and half. You can use milk. Half and half has a thicker, creamier flavor. I wouldn't use heavy whipping cream because I think that would give it too sweet of a flavor, but the half and half is really good. John, back to you. So we have our butter in here and it's melting up really, really good and quick. And I tested our veggies over here with my fork, and they're nice and tender. And once we get this roux going, there's a couple different things we're gonna do. So when we get the roux going, we're gonna add some flour and salt and pepper. And then this is just the way I do it. You could do it however you want, but I like to use bacon in it. So I know clam chowder is really clammy if you want it to be, but bacon honestly has a delicious flavor in a lot of things. So whenever I've told you, whenever I have extra bacon when I cook breakfast or whatever, I put it in the freezer. I grabbed it out today when I got home, chopped it up, and we're gonna put it in here, and it gives it a really nice flavor. So it's still gonna be clam chowder, it's just gonna have a little teeny bit of a bacon flavor, which there's nothing wrong with a little bit of bacon flavor. So our butter is just about melted. I'll give you a little shot of that. I hope you guys all had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. We've got some really fun stuff coming this year. So butter is melted. Now we're gonna add about 1.5 to 2 cups of flour, and that's gonna go in. I have actually 2 cups right here because I'm making kind of a bigger batch. So I'm gonna put that right in with the butter, give it a good stir, because you want that to mix up and mix with that butter, and that is where your thickening agent is going to come. Now, one thing is when you get this done and you have everything together, this is how it should look once you've added that. So it looks kind of like just chunks of stuff, butter and flour, which is your thickening agent. So now we're going to add 4 cups of half and half. You may have to add more depending on how big a batch you're making. This is just kind of for a normal size batch, because once we get this up and heated up, what we need to do is we're going to put in the entire pan, liquid and the vegetables. Don't drain them. That liquid with the clam juice is going in here, and that's what's going to make this even better. So once you add that half and half in, get it stirring, let it melt down. That butter is going to melt with that cold half and half, and then we're going to start having a creamy sauce to add all of those vegetables in. And during that time, if you notice, we haven't really seasoned anything. So right here I have about 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper. So we're going to add some seasonings in. You can add this in really, honestly, if you wanted to do it while you're cooking the vegetables, you could. It doesn't make that much difference as long as you get those seasonings in there, because you don't want to have a bland clam chowder. So this recipe I have been using for probably 30 plus years. I got it from someone that I worked with, one of my very first jobs. It was called Condi's Foods, and it's from a restaurant that was quite popular back in the day, and it was called Bratten's, and it was Bratten's Fish House. And of course, they had all kinds of seafood. So this is actually Bratten's recipe, supposedly. So I have made this for years and years, and honestly, I love soups, and clam chowder is probably one of my favorites. It's really delicious. I hope that you like it, and I hope you'll try it. And we are putting the recipe in the description, so I think you'll be impressed with it. So this is going to heat through a little bit more as it melts that butter and the flour, so we can have a nice roux. And as I started to say, once you add these vegetables with that liquid, if it seems like a little bit too soupy, or if you want to have a little bit thicker, this is something you can use for anything. Use cornstarch, maybe 3 tablespoons, put it in a bowl, put a little bit of cold water, so maybe a bowl like this, a little bit of cold water, just stir it up so it's liquid and no bumps and lumps. And if you pour it into your whatever kind of soup you're making, bring that heat up, because it has to come up to a really good heat, and then it will thicken. So this butter and flour and half and half is starting to get pretty creamy and pretty thick. Now comes the fun part. So we're going to have to add in all these vegetables, and I pulled them off there, and it's quite a large pan, so it may make a little bit of a mess, and I don't want to burn myself because it is hot. But we're going to have to dump the whole doggone thing in there. Here we got the big old pan with the liquid, and we're going to pour it slowly. Pour it slow, because if not, you could have issues. Issues that need tissues. See how nice that looks? Ah! Just about lost it. That's a lot of taters, onions, celery. All right. We missed a couple taters. We can get those in there. That's such a nice pan. Thanks, Tammy and Eric. That was awesome. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put in the clams. So like I said, 4 cans. You can buy them minced, you can buy them chopped, depending on how big you like them will depend. So start putting your clams in. Pretty simple. Simple, simple. And this is about the time that I like to add my bacon. So this has already been cooked. I'm just going to put in, you can put in, that was about, I don't know, maybe a half a cup, 3/4 of a cup. And just give this a nice little stir. And then this is going to have to cook for maybe, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to get it. All it really has to do is heat through so that the clams aren't cold. As you can see, it's thickened up really, really nice. Now this is something that not everybody does, but sometimes creamy soups have a little bit of a bitter taste. And this is probably a little bit more than I'm going to use, but this is a half a cup of sugar. And I'm not going to use the whole thing because I think that's too much. So maybe about 1/4 of a cup of sugar, because that's going to take a little bit of the bite off from the bitterness. So all you need to do is just add that, and then we're going to let it warm up, seep through. And this is an actual gorgeous chowder. It's delicious, it's hearty. A lot of times I serve it either with cornbread, I like it with chili, all kinds of soups. This soup is ready to go. We're heating up. So I'm going to give a little taste here and see how it's turning out, see if there's anything. You always want to taste it and see if you need a little bit of something, maybe a little bit of salt or pepper or something else. Oh, perfect. You could already taste the bacon. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope your family jumps in and tries these things. We have a lot of really fun videos coming up. Subscribe, tell your friends, let me know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll try to do my best. And as always, I cook for the love of my family. Now I share that with you. See ya. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, please subscribe below. And for my most recent video, look right here.